Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Thursday, and all of our guests today, including John Shannon, standing by. Where is he? In Invermere? Golfing? Nice. Brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Giants home opener Friday, September 20th, just around the corner against Seattle. Season tickets on sale for as low as $17 a game, and they include tickets to the first two home playoff games, plus a free WHL live subscription, or grab a flex pack available in 6 or 12 game packages for as low as $22 a game. Head to vancouvergiants.com/season tickets and do not miss out as we bring on for the first time this Donnie and Dolly season our friend NHL analyst John Shannon. John, thanks for doing this, sir. You're in Invermere. How are you?
I'm doing great. Before we get started, so you had a good summer, Donnie? You had a good summer?
Very good. Mixed, but good.
Rick, you had a good summer?
Absolutely.
You do any traveling?
Yeah. Donnie went.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
I went to Europe. Rick went to Toronto.
Toronto.
So Rick went to Toronto, and I see on social media, lovely breakfast with Elliot Friedman.
Yeah.
Lovely breakfast with our pal Reed Mitchell from the Maple Leafs.
Great guy.
I guess my phone wasn't working. I don't recall a phone call to say, hey, listen, I'm in the neighborhood. Do you want to get together? I didn't get that call.
I'm coming again in August. Toronto. Book it.
Well, I may be busy.
Yeah.
But I can't. You come all this way. You come all the way to Toronto, and you guys expect me, 11 a.m. Thursdays, and I get nothing from one of the stars of the show. Nothing.
That's that good point.
I think you should get in a car right now and go to Invermere.
Yeah. That's a long drive.
What's going on in Invermere, John? Are you golfing?
Yeah, I'm here. This is a regular annual occurrence. We take 4 or 5 days. A few guys from the east. We meet a couple of guys from the west, and we have a challenge for 4 or 5 days in the Columbia Valley. Grey Wolf, Eagle Ranch, Radium Hot Springs. Good place to play. Little liquid sunshine today, but we're going to be fine.
You keep rubbing it in like that, John. Rick's not going to drive out there to join you for a lunch in Invermere. I must admit, I did feel a little ignored when I saw, and Friedman, of course, there was nothing left on Friedman's plate. And there's Rick with all his friends in Toronto, and I sat at home alone.
Yeah. Next summer, I got Mitch Marner's agent all ready to go. We're gonna and you're the second guy.
Okay.
So I'm behind Darren Ferris?
Darren Ferris, I've already booked it. I got it going.
Moving on, John. Okay. Hey, Christine Simpson is leaving Sportsnet.
Yeah.
Did you work with her at all? I'd imagine you did.
I did. I worked with her in multiple places. I actually hired. She got let go at one point by Sportsnet. Gosh, what would it be now? 10 or 11 years ago. Yeah. I hired Christine to work at the NHL Network when I was running the NHL Network in 2008 and 2009 too. Christine's a good friend. I had a great chat with her this morning. I think she's ready for new challenges, and it's there, as you guys know, and we're all victims of it. There's always change in our industry, and it's kind of sad to see her leave Sportsnet. But something tells me that she'll land on her feet.
Would you consider her somewhat of a trailblazer? She was with Sportsnet from day one, wasn't she?
It's funny. When you look at the strides that have been made with females in our business, that is sometimes not very fair to women. Christine was one of the first. I remember having a session with her when I was running Hockey Night. She was working at the Hockey Hall of Fame and said, I wanted to get into television. How do I do it? The timing was such that when Sportsnet did come on the air in the late 90s, they hired her, and she did marvelous work. And the one thing that has kept Christine in great stead was the relationship she built. Mm-hmm. And so when Christine phoned, everybody always picked the phone up. And she got those interviews and she got those features. Her demeanor was fantastic. And she took a lot of flack early on. But she came from a great family, a great hockey family. and it proved to be well worth her time in and around the NHL and certainly in the broadcast industry. She was a pioneer as far as I was concerned with what she did on live games, what she did with her features, what she did on a regular basis on some of our trade deadline stuff, Donnie, when we were all around there. Yeah. She became a really, really good broadcaster.
Craig Simpson's sister, for those people who don't know that. Sidney Crosby, we brought up his name earlier.
Yeah, we did.
John, in this show. There's some trade speculation out there, as silly as that might sound, but he has just one more year left on his Pittsburgh contract. We know the Penguins situation. I wouldn't consider them a cup contender these days. Can you envision him playing elsewhere?
Nope, I can't. I would not be surprised to see them announce something in the near future, maybe even before the regular season starting. His agent, Joe Moldaver from Wasserman, Pat Brisson. He's a Brisson guy.
Yeah.
I get them all mixed up all the time. But I think that the relationship that he's had with the Penguins and with the fans in Pittsburgh, I think Sid is going to try to emulate what Mario did, and that was to be a Penguin for life. Really, I think what we're seeing is how long will the contract be? Will Sid want to play into his 40s? That, to me, is the biggest question. At 36 or 37 years old, will he want to sign another 4-year deal to get to that number 40 mark? He's played with some great players in and around the Penguins that played in their 40s. The question is, will Sid want to be playing hockey for the Penguins when he's 40 years old?
John, you've got a pretty good beat on the Canucks. You talked to Jim Rutherford. He's been on your podcast many times. Your thoughts on their moves in the offseason and what do you expect from them expectation-wise?
Well, you guys have probably already talked about it and all week is, how healthy is the goaltending? That will be the question, I think, until Thatcher comes back and plays a few games. But, the way this team is constructed, I see no reason to think that they aren't 1A or 1B in the Pacific Division with Edmonton. It's going to be a much more difficult division to win because the teams at the bottom of the division are going to be better. We know San Jose is going to be better, so it's going to be harder to win games. But I think Vancouver and Edmonton are the two best teams in the division. I think there's a lot of pressure on Elias Pettersson to rebound from a mediocre playoff. But I also think that Quinn Hughes will be better. I think the fact that Roenick is signed for a long-term deal is important for this hockey club. I like Jake DeBrusk. I think he's a perfect guy to play for Rick Tocchet. There's so many positives for Vancouver. I suspect that it'll be another 100-point season, and it'll be another BC-Alberta battle in the first and second round of the playoffs.
No Stanley Cup in this country since 1993. Are we getting closer? Is there somebody there you see that can do it? Well, I think the two best Canadian teams are going to be Edmonton and Vancouver. Right.
I think they're better than Toronto. I think that some of the issues that Brad tried to fix with the Maple Leafs might still bring question marks. His defense might be a bit better. What's going to happen with Mitch Marner? What's going to happen in goal? I mean, Joseph Woll's a ton of pressure on Joseph Woll to perform this year at a certain level. But I think in the end, if you can tell me that Edmonton and Vancouver are cup contenders, I think that's the right way to go. And could I see Vancouver or Edmonton winning the Stanley Cup? I'm not a gambling guy. I don't go to Vegas, but I think if you're going to pick two Canadian teams, those are the two Canadian teams you're going to pick.
A lot of people are crossing their fingers hearing you say that, John. And so training camps begin next week. Do you not long, quickly, John, but do you not long for the days or pine for the days when training camps used to be 1 week or 2 weeks long and the media would have a whole bunch of fun?
I really would like to see training camp start this week. I really would like to see the regular season start on the 17th and finish before the end of May. Yeah. But, Donnie, that's never going to happen in our lifetime again. That's just a fact. We have to deal with it. 82 games are long. We're going to build in this 2-week gap every season now for
Right.
a tournament or the Olympics. So we're talking hockey in June, and we better enjoy that too. So, but I'd like to see hockey start in September, but that's not going to happen ever again.
Yeah, and I don't understand why junior teams can start in September and yet the NHL doesn't. It's as though money is important to the National Hockey League, John. I don't get it.
Nobody wants to compete with that big animal called the National Football League.
Yes, so true. Oh, good to have you back. Have a good time up there in Invermere, and Rick will be there in about 5 or 6 hours.
I'll tell you what, though, Donnie, when you come to Toronto, coffee's on me.
All right, absolutely.
And Rick, when you come to Toronto, we're going to the most expensive steakhouse, and it's on you.
No, breakfast only. Breakfast only. Breakfast only.
Thanks, John.
Cheers, boys.